Have you ever made a deal you knew could ruin you, but your heart refused to say no? Because that's exactly where she stood, high above the glittering skyline, one signature away from a marriage that wasn't real, and a love she swore she'd never believe in again. Lila Hart was no stranger to fairy tales. In fact, she designed them for a living. Brides from all over the country flocked to her boutique, Hart and Ivy, for gowns that whispered promises of forever. But Lila, she'd stopped believing in forever years ago, on the day her fiancé shattered hers with a stolen kiss, and not with her. Since then, love was a luxury she couldn't afford. Focused, guarded, and with a locket around her neck carrying nothing but air, Lila built a fortress around her heart made of silk, scandal, and stubborn pride. Enter Evan Sinclair, a man whose name was worth a fortune, and whose reputation was one disaster away from crumbling. The media dubbed him the Ice King of Aviation, billionaire CEO, ruthless strategist, rumored heartbreaker. But behind the headlines was a man even colder than his nickname suggested, a man who believed emotions were weaknesses that cost too much. Evan had one problem: a pending corporate takeover threatening his family empire. The solution: a flawless image, settled life, and nothing settled nerves quite like a perfect wife. And who better than the woman who hated everything he represented? When a mutual connection proposed a contract marriage to save both their reputations, Evan's from scandal and Lila's boutique from bankruptcy, they both should have walked away. But neither did. Because what began as a calculated arrangement soon tangled with lingering glances, near misses, and conversations too honest for two people pretending not to care. Their first meeting wasn't a romantic whirlwind. It was a negotiation. Over coffee. With a contract. "I don't believe in love," Lila had told him coolly, signing her name with a flourish. "Good," Evan replied, a smirk playing at the corner of his mouth. "It's the most dangerous investment there is." Neither of them knew how dangerous it was about to become. Because somewhere between staged photo ops, whispered insults disguised as banter, and a kiss meant for the cameras that left them both breathless, something real ignited. And neither of them was ready for it. Jealous exes, corporate schemes, and secrets buried so deep they bled through smiles. Everything they thought they could control began to unravel. What happens when a contract meant to protect you becomes the one thing that could destroy you? And when the heart you locked away starts to choose someone you swore you'd never trust? Before we dive in, tell me in the comments, would you risk everything for a love you didn't believe in? Or play it safe and walk away? Smash that like button, subscribe if you live for messy, forbidden romances, and let's unravel this dangerous, deliciously flirty love game together. Because by the end of this story, no heart comes out unscarred. This is Married for Show, Fell for Real. And trust me, you're about to fall. The evening air shimmered with the scent of peonies and champagne as the doors to Sinclair Aviation's exclusive rooftop event opened. Lila Hart arrived in a midnight silk dress of her own design, a perfect blend of elegance and armor. She clutched her phone like a shield, mentally rehearsing her exit strategy. She wasn't here for the view or the schmoozing. She was here because Cassandra Wells, a cutthroat PR executive with connections in every luxury circle, had dangled one last hope in front of her. "You want to save Hart and Ivy? Talk to Evan Sinclair. Tonight." Lila had no patience for egos, and from what the tabloids said, Evan was made entirely of it. At precisely 8, Evan Sinclair appeared, slicing through the crowd like a man who owned it all, which in fairness he nearly did. His dark tailored suit spoke of unshakable power. His sharp eyes missed nothing. He was charisma and control personified. And he needed a wife. Not in the traditional sense, of course. This was business. His company was under siege, a takeover looming. The board was restless. Investors loved a CEO with a charming, scandal-free bride. It whispered stability in unstable times. Evan's ex-fiancée, Celeste Moore, had publicly abandoned him for a prince. The PR damage lingered. Which is why Cassandra had arranged this meeting. When their eyes met, there was no swoon, no love at first sight nonsense. There was calculation, curiosity, and a flicker of intrigue neither would admit to. "You must be the human glacier I've heard so much about," Lila said coolly, offering a handshake. His grip was firm, his smirk infuriating. "Better frozen than burned out, Miss Hart," he replied smoothly. Within 5 minutes, it was clear. They couldn't stand each other. And yet, 5 minutes later, they were in a quiet corner discussing terms. The proposal. "I'll be blunt," Evan began. "I need a partner for 6 months. Public appearances, charity events, a strategic engagement announcement. In return, I'll wire a 7-figure investment into your company by morning." Lila arched a brow. "You think I'm for sale?" "I think you're in trouble," he countered. "And you're smart enough to know opportunity when you see it." Beat passed. Lila wasn't naive. Her business had been sabotaged after her last public scandal. Anonymous rumors, investors pulling out. Mason, her cheating ex, and his new fiancée, the same woman who'd once called Lila her best friend, had taken everything. She needed capital, or Hart and Ivy would close within months. Still a contract marriage. With a man so coldly beautiful he looked like temptation dressed in danger. "I'm not your PR doll," she warned. "And I don't do love," Evan replied. "It's business, nothing more." The first spark. Pact was made. The next evening, a photograph of Evan Sinclair and bridal designer Lila Hart graced gossip sites. "Aviation's Ice King engaged to couture queen." The caption beneath a staged photo of them laughing was pure fiction, but the warmth in Evan's hand on Lila's waist had felt alarmingly real. "That was for show," she hissed as cameras flashed. He leaned close, murmuring, "Then stop looking at me like you want me to kiss you." Her glare could have cut steel. Days later, Evan hosted a gala fundraiser. Lila entered in crimson satin, instantly drawing eyes. Celeste Moore made her entrance moments later. Blonde, brilliant, clinging to a prince like a trophy. The room vibrated with tension. Celeste made a beeline for Evan, her gaze raking over Lila. Well. Upgraded your accessory, I see," she purred. Lila's throat tightened, old insecurities surfacing. Evan's hand slid over hers, a silent reassurance. "Don't flinch, they'll smell it." The touch burned. For a man who claimed not to care. His protective instinct was unervingly convincing. Conflict brews. In the weeks that followed, staged interviews and charity dinners blurred lines. They danced under chandeliers, posed for paparazzi, whispered fake sweet nothings. But somewhere between rehearsed glances and choreographed kisses on the cheek, cracks formed. Lila discovered Evan wasn't just the Ice King. Late one night after a gala, she wandered into his library. Sketchbooks lay open on his desk, intricate designs of vintage timepieces. He entered quietly, watched her admire them. "You collect watches but don't wear them," she teased. He shrugged, sitting beside her. "Time's a trap. People waste it chasing things that don't matter." "And what matters to you?" she asked before she could stop herself. He looked at her then, really looked, and something shifted. "Not what I thought it did." A week before the wedding, Lila overheard a board member sneering over champagne. "Sinclair's using that designer for PR. Once the ink dries, she'll be history." Her chest ached. Was it true? Had any of this been real? The gentle smiles when cameras weren't watching. The long talks about betrayal and childhood. The night they watched the storm roll in from his balcony, shoulders brushing, hearts whispering secrets neither voiced. Lila packed her things. But just before leaving, she found a letter on her pillow. Evan's vow draft. Not the PR version. The real one. "I didn't plan on you. I didn't want you. But you happened. And now, I don't know how to let you go." Her pulse stuttered. Could she risk it? Could he? Would you take a risk like Lila's? Drop a red heart in the comments if you believe in unexpected love. The mansion's ballroom glowed like a fairy tale as Lila and Evan arrived side by side. Cameras clicked, capturing the illusion of a perfect couple. But behind the poised smiles, every whispered word carried hidden meaning. Lila tugged at his cuff when he whispered, "Try not to make me look too attached." He leaned in close, voice low and teasing. "You look far too good to pretend you want me gone." A shared laugh, and for a heartbeat, neither was acting. During philanthropy interviews, Ethan caught Lila's fleeting eye. Her warmth in that glance hit him in the chest, more real than any staged moment. By midnight, they found themselves alone in Evan's office, overlooking city lights. Lila sipped dark roast as Evan reviewed investor notes. She asked softly, "Do you ever miss honesty?" He paused, hand brushing hers without intention. "My parents signed my life away," Evan admitted. "I can charm the world, but still feel empty at 2 a.m. alone." Her chest tightened. Here was a man used to power, admitting loneliness. Lila described her heartbreak, how she buried it in lace and silk. She confessed she never believed she'd let someone close again. His eyes softened. The distance between them shrank. To unwind, Evan led Lila to an art gallery opening. Her eyes lit at the paintings. He paused in front of a romantic canvas and asked softly, "Ever paint again?" She laughed, nervously brushing her hair behind her ear. "Not publicly." He praised her artistry. "Not for show." They lingered, just two people, not a contract couple. Late one evening, after a long planning session, they exited the boardroom together. Hushed lighting in the hallway. Their shoulders brushed. Lila's heart hammered. "Stop. You're not what I signed up for," she replied, voice barely above a whisper. "Nor are you." Then they kissed. Tentative, curious, electrifying. Neither pulling away at first. Lila's pulse raced. Evan's jaw twitched with emotion. Neither spoke. This was no longer part of the deal. The next morning they met at a charity brunch. The air was thick with unspoken words. They maintained polite posture, but everything between them had changed. Lila adjusted her necklace the way she knew he liked. He removed his pen and doodled hearts in his notes. "Tap like if you think contract love can turn real. Have you ever felt that spark?" Celeste appeared at a fashion event, flanked by press. Her gaze locked on Lila. Celeste approached, voice smooth. "Hope you're enjoying the limelight." Lila's voice quivered. Evan stepped forward, voice calm but steel hard. "Back off." Everyone paused. Afterward, Lila poured her heart out to Evan, fears of being discarded publicly once more. He held her hand, not for show. Bubble of intimacy. A quiet night in his penthouse. Jazz filtering through a vintage record player. Lila noticed his cello in the corner. He confessed it's the only thing that soothes him. He played for her. Soft cello melodies, no cameras. She whispered her scarred past. The day she found Mason kissing her best friend. His tears glistened. He soothed her hair. They weren't acting anymore. They'd stopped pretending. Comment below. When did you last risk it all for love? A bored dinner erupted. A wealthy donor leaned into Evan. "Your designer? Charming, but I hear this engagement is PR. Don't let it cloud your judgment." Evan froze. Lila overheard the exchange. It confirmed her fear. She was just a pawn. She stormed out, tears hot on her cheeks. Guilt splintered his heart. Everything had become real, but had he just betrayed her? Evan drove to her boutique after hours. Rain-lashed windows. "Lila, I did that to protect you. I didn't want you scoffed at for loving me." She let tears fall. "Then don't protect me with lies. I want you real. All of you." He pulled her close. They kissed in the rain. Handheld emotions unleashed at last. Evan planned a surprise. The gala where they first appeared. Only this time, all for Lila. He coordinated a surprise art exhibit behind the gala, showcasing her designs with a tribute to her innocence, growth. This was his apology, and proof he never believed in show. They stand on stage, side by side, heartbeats aligned. A couple in love, not in contract. Only 3 days remain until the staged wedding. Tension crackles between them. Event planners bustle. Lila double-checks lighting and lace while Evan pores over press kits. Amid the chaos, he sends her a single white rose with a note. "We're in the final act. Break a leg or kiss." Lila corners him backstage. Their lips almost brush, she teases. "Don't rehearse your apology too early." He smiles, undeniably warm. They may be pretending, but tonight could tip the scales into real. As guests arrive, Celeste reappears, this time emboldened. She approaches with glass raised. "A magnificent ceremony, darling. Do enjoy it, before it all implodes." Hush falls. Lila's hands grip her dress. Evan's jaw tightens. Celeste raises the golden chalice and murmurs loud enough for cameras. "To their fairy tale. Let's see if it's built on real love, or just PR magic." Flashes swirl. Lila freezes. Evan carefully retrieves her hand. "Evan, quietly ignore her. Tonight is ours." They step up to vows. Lila's voice wavers. "I promise to stand with you for show or real." Evan's eyes flicker with doubt, until she lets him finish. He sets the paper aside. Evan, heartfelt, facing her. "Lila, this document says we're committing for appearances. I want more. I wrote words once, but they weren't real. Tonight." He steps forward. "I choose you. Not the deal, not the agenda, not the image. You." At this truth, the room exhales. Cameras still roll, but his words echo past the lights. He kneels, pulls out a small velvet box. This wasn't in the schedule, but love rarely follows protocol. "Will you marry me, truly?" gasps in the room. Lila's eyes fill. "Lila," voice trembling. "Yes, yes, Evan." Their kiss blooms under confetti cannons. Acceptance cheers swirl. If you're rooting for real love triumphing over show, hit subscribe and tell us, who's your favorite romance hero? Confetti settles. They escape to a dimly lit hallway. He brushes a lace tendril from her face. "Evan, I risked my reputation for you." Lila, softly, "I risked my heart." He smiles, pressing his forehead to hers. "Evan, thank you for choosing me again and again." Lila, "Thank you for proving men can be different." They linger in silent gratitude. Downstairs, Celeste storms off, the photos catching her departure. Reporters murmur. Reporter, "Looks like the ex vanished, and so did the controversies." Evan offers Lila his arm. She clasps it with trust. 6 months later, at the combined grand opening of Hart and Ivy's adjacent boutique extension and Sinclair Aviation's lounge launch, they stand between a couture dress mannequin and a sleek jet model. At a ribbon-cutting ceremony, they hold giant scissors together, she in ivory suit, he in tailored black. "Together we redefine new journeys," Evan announces. Lila smiles, glow evident in every curve of her face. Backstage, he hands her a new locket, this one containing a watch charm engraved, "No show needed." She opens it. Tears gather. Lila, "No show. Evan, just us." They kiss as guests applaud, not for their empire but for their story. They married for show but fell for real. From pretense to truth, from contract to commitment. Love rewrote the script. They walk hand in hand through a flight lounge corridor. His tailored coat draped over her shoulder, hers over his. Jets taking off, dresses being designed, late-night laughter. They didn't just win love, they redefined it. Both ambitious, yet fiercely devoted, to their dreams, to each other, and to a bond no contract could contain. The story wraps not with gloss, but with truth, growth, and earned intimacy. As the final notes of the evening celebration faded, fairy lights twinkled above the garden terrace where Evan and Lila found a quiet corner, away from the flashes and murmurs of curious guests. Evan cradled 2 glasses of champagne and handed one to Lila, his gaze softer than she'd ever seen. "You know," he murmured, "for a marriage built on a contract, this turned out to be the only deal I never want to renegotiate." Lila smiled, tracing a fingertip around the rim of her glass. "I used to think love stories were for other people." Fairy tales sewn into dresses I'd never wear myself. But then this happened. And it feels real. Scary, messy, imperfect, and real. They toasted, leaning in until their foreheads met beneath the glow of the fairy lights. So, Evan grinned, brushing a stray curl from her cheek. Should we make a promise? No more contracts. No more pretending. Only truth, she whispered. Only us. Their kiss lingered, sealing a chapter neither of them had planned, but both were finally ready to write. Some stories begin with broken hearts and business deals. But the best ones, the ones you remember, are built on unexpected courage, second chances, and the rarest kind of trust. Have you ever found love where you least expected it? Drop your story in the comments. We'd love to hear it. And if you believe in second chances, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Made of Love for more stories like this one. Hit that bell so you never miss a heartbeat. As confetti fluttered into the night sky, Evan twirled Lila under the starlight. Two people no longer acting for anyone else, just choosing each other over and over again. Love isn't about perfect timing or flawless plans. It's about the courage to trust again when your heart swears it's safer not to.